Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, wherever you are in the world. This is REGANELITE here with another Snowflake Talks, and I'm talking with a man in the dark.
And all
Literally
my
in the
lights are
dark.
falling apart. Story of my life. Hello, everybody. Hope
Oh,
everyone's well.
Daily Blasé, how are you today?
Yes, I'm, I'm fumbling in the dark, as you can tell.
He's
This is.
he's just trying to he's had a lot of sunshine lately, so he's just trying to counteract this tonight, guys. That's the truth.
This is about as. This is the best I can get at these lights. Well, I've got upstairs and upstairs.
Oh,
They're not very good. They're
oh.
absolutely. Also, if you hear a slight blowing, I've got a fan up here as well.
To be fair, I don't blame you to considering like the humidity over the last couple of weeks has been quite a lot. To be fair, it's
Yeah.
oh man, I mean I'm in a like the room I'm in, like I have to have the door shut, and then I've got two lights in front of me. I've got a light above me, as well as the orb and the lava lamp behind me making heat, as well as the computer. So this turns into quite a baked oven. So especially during the live streams, I'm absolutely like sweating when really the really humidity
Yeah.
gets in, because it's quite a small room that I'm in, so the heat can really build up. So it's like when you step out of the room after a light, when I get out after the room after a light show, it's like
Yeah.
so you
I've
get
just
that.
yeah, yeah. I've just looked at the chat. Billy Kershaw says professional broadcast on its finest. Absolutely brilliant.
Yeah.
Absolutely. How bad things ever get, we still we'll still be more professional than GBBs.
Yes, absolutely. We are. This is much better quality than GB News will ever have, you guys.
Yeah. Oh,
So
never
just to
mind.
run a bit of things, guys. Just how I remember actually I remember when I first came across you from Max's live stream, and I think it was under 20,000 subscribers is when I first came across your channel, and
Yeah.
um, I can't remember how many subscribers you had at the time, but when you look at your channel now and how far you've come, I mean, it's absolutely incredible. You really have done absolutely fantastic work. I mean, 30,000 plus subscribers, over 1,000, nearly 1,300 videos, nearly
Yeah.
over nearly 19 million plus viewers across your channel. And you started that channel back in March 2019. So it's an amazing achievement. How far
Yeah.
you've come on that channel. It's very impressive. How do you feel?
Yeah.
Like,
Thank you. Just a little. I still have to pinch myself really because I'm thinking, who would want to listen to this dour, boring Yorkshireman? You know?
well, 19 million people do because that's how many
Yeah,
views you've had on the
yeah,
channel.
yeah.
On the channel.
It's like, if I'm honest, thank you, Stephen Bankier. I really appreciate that. But yeah,
Mm,
it was. I originally started my channel as just some as. I'll can I. Right, I'll turn my mic up. Can you hear me better? Can you hear me better?
I
Someone
can
says,
hear you. Might be
all
a
right
right. If the mic's levels are up or down, just let us know, guys. Yeah, but yeah, go on, carry on.
then. All right. But yeah, I basically just started it as a bit of a something because I have an old. I still have it. It's still wandering around the realms of YouTube as a bit of a
Mm,
music channel because I used to take music lessons and my music teacher encouraged me to you know write down some lyrics and be creative and it's and do some recordings, have a bit of fun and be creative. And
mm,
now I know I'm not some. I'll never be anyone like Bruno or Bob Dylan. There's a name for the youngsters.
mm.
and and I would and sometimes my music teacher says, "I've got a little lick for you," and and he just do it and he write down the tab for me,
Mm,
and he says, "See what you can come up with that." And and a lot of it, even then, I was still a bit politically minded. I would write about experiences I'd seen around me city, the desperation, get my teeth in, and the desperation, because at the time, people just sleeping in in door shops. So that was something I'd not seen for a long time, and you can really tell the years of Tory austerity had really taken its toll, especially in my city of Bradford. And I remember my first song I ever wrote. It was called My Hometown, and they were just lyrics that I just wrote about what I'd seen, and bottom of Ivegate and outside St George's Hall, and these are particular places that I just wrote them down, and I just used a thick, and then did a bit of an extra in the middle and a bit of a chorus. But then I'd write them down. I think, right, I would get into mode of recording. I'd sit in front of this microphone, and I could feel sweat roll my back, comfort, and so.
Oh, I think we're losing connection.
In a situation where
Oh, you still there?
Oh, are we all right?
It was just cutting out there.
Yeah, and I would feel uncomfortable. Can you hear me now?
Yes. Yeah, I think it's all right now.
Can you hear me? All right.
Camera keeps freezing. Oh no, this is not
comfortable.
Good.
Oh dear.
Hold on.
Oh dear.
Okay, I can see you now, and I can hear you now. I think it's damn internet. Yes, number 3 is in poor light. He's hold on a sec. Give it a second.
Yes, I'm a vampire.
Yes, he's official.
Number 3, unfortunately.
Yes, guys.
But anyway, I would feel incredibly uncomfortable, and they were now. And at the time I was working, and this is at the time when I was working, and as well, and I would say, and it was hanging around the time when Brexit was going on, and I was, when it came to the vote, I was here and hither or thither, but I would see stuff like from Bowl Hatman maybe, or Max or Phil, and a lot of the times I would basically start like saying, yeah, I totally agree with that. And I would, if I did record a song, I could see it in my voice where I was just holding back because I just felt incredibly uncomfortable doing it. I'm a very, very reluctant singer. I'm not the best vocalist ever, and I know I'm not. So, so it was a case of what I decided to do. What Bowler Hatman would go through, how can I put it? He would go through an article I'd already read, and I was thinking, yeah, I've read that. That was a pretty good article with that. That was pretty decent. And I just thought, why don't I do a new channel? Do a couple of them, get comfortable sat in front of a microphone, and so that it becomes a little bit more second nature. And I was in the time where Brexit with all that, and I was listening to James O'Brien, where he's just absolutely just getting avalanche with lunatic Brexit extremists, and
yeah,
and I just thought, why don't I learn a bit of improve editing and videos and whatnot? And I thought, why don't I pop a couple of them on, have a bit of fun, learn how to worm around YouTube as well. And people started subscribing, and as well, it is what it's like as well, Regan.
Yeah,
you get that sense of responsibility. You think they've subscribed to your channel. I had all end up to just do 10 maybe videos and didn't think anybody would subscribe, and then just delete my channel once I felt more comfortable. It just felt like second nature. But once people started, I remember when I got it into double figures, 10 subs, I felt like Mr. Beast. Man, should probably not nowadays, anyway, from what I've been hearing. But you know what I mean?
Yeah.
But then when I got to 100, I thought, well, I'll see how far I can go. If somebody had said to me at that time, you'd have 30,000, I would have just laughed. I went, no chance. But it's been a bit of an adventure because like I'd moved on from doing stuff like that, and I just fell into stuff like the select committees because it's simple reason I just enjoyed them. I found them incredibly interesting, and I've tried to do other things, when Parliament's in recess. They've not really always worked, but but to get to 30,000 subs, I'm eternally grateful, for everyone's support and kindness and love they've shown to me, especially my family, when I had problems, when my wife was having problems. But anyway.
But it's not just that. Obviously, that feeling of having that many subscribers, obviously, and obviously that can help in terms of obviously income as well. Because I remember there were times in the past where you were saying you were struggling and with struggling like all sorts has had struggles. When it wasn't just a case of just trying to. You talked in the past about some of the financial difficulties, shall we say. You don't have to go into it if you don't want to, but obviously now, you've it's come along. It's obviously this, the massive increase in your channel. And I think one of the things that really is appealing is obviously your channel, obviously very specific on select committees, hearings, or when MPs making certain speeches in the Commons. You are really good at pointing out things that not everybody like, because not everyone will spend time and sit and watch all these debates and watch all these all these questions and everything going through, and it's a lot of time consuming to do that as well. But you're there and you're listening to it all from start to finish, and then you've got something there that you can highlight to people who may not have seen straight away. And it's and especially I love the committee hearings that you've covered as well. I think without a shadow of a doubt, like especially when I think the ones that are really good when you are highlighting the post office and the post office during the post office, what's his name, as well, among so many others. Just it's really informative and really helpful information to people who like don't see the weeds, shall we say, of these committees and debates, but you really, but obviously, when you first started, have you always been someone, before I obviously talk about that, I just wanted to ask, have you always been someone who's been into politics, or is it just a case of what you have seen around your town as kind of, or what you have seen in life as maybe as what drove you towards politics, or has it been something that you've always had an interest in? Or
when I was at school, I don't know if they still do it now, but I must say I'm in my early 50s now. But when I was at school as a wee whippersnapper, and I think in the last year you'd had choices, and I can't remember what one of the choices were, really the politics or politicians or philosophy or something like that. It could have been or how politics work and what this and that and the other. And I always found that appealing because I'd get home from school and I'd have my dinner, and they'd have the 6 o'clock news on or whatever, and then there'd be that little bit where they're in the chamber, the bear pit, and picking up the papers and all that silly noises. And I found it fascinating, and as I got older, I always wondered. I thought to myself, when it comes to people in certain parties, what draws them into that party, and how they've developed into that political belief. And one of the fascinating ones was how do people become Tories? You know what I mean. But I suppose there were an article by Nadeem Zahawi, which sort of like was a penny drop moment, because he spoke about when his father had lost his job, and he was on whatever universal credit and this and other, and he basically said that they viewed the benefit system as a trap, not as a safety, and that just basically that just opened, and it just made me think, but I always found it fascinating why people think the way they did, and and that's how it always was. But the thing is, what I found noticeable, and I still said it a few times even today, was we had to, because there were choices. I had to drop the politics one because of all of over 1,000 and odd students, only 2 students put the names down for that, and it just highlights, and it just highlighted something for me. I think I'm not saying that it should be in school come what may, and how to vote, but but I think there should be some sort of lessons of how it works, how everything works there.
Maybe a little bit of maybe like a crash course for people of how politics, a bit like how does British politics function in the UK
and how
in comparison to other, but
works.
not like in full details, but kind of like a breakdown, like a crash course, and maybe even like taking them a trip to one PMQs or something, kids or something, just for an educational point of view there. Just to say, thank you, Al-Sakir, for the £5 super chat. He says Daily Blasé's channel shows how Parliament works. Love the committee videos. Very informative for me, Daily Blasé. Keep up with the excellent content, my friend. As-Sakir there.
If you can't see me, that were a thumbs up. Say thank you.
Jordy, thank you so much for being a member for 5 months. He says, what Alistair said, those clips are golden. Yeah, they are. They really are. They really are indeed.
Thank you.
It's yeah, I absolutely agree. I think, I talk about how we talk about. I mean, everyone talks about how important education is for children anyway, and it's the bedrock of any society. And yeah, even just having a basic understanding of politics. Like, I don't remember being taught anything about politics in any way, shape, or form when I was a kid at all. But also another thing that wasn't taught for me was anything about finance. It's about looking after money and that kind of thing. And I think that's another one that I think that our children are missing out on greatly, especially considering how difficult things are right now. But
I'm just wondering if that's something that is done a little bit on purpose, because if people really get to grips on how money works, they won't be emboldened to what they call it. The rat run, would they?
No.
That's what I'm wondering. Maybe a bit conspiratory, but who knows? But yeah, that's very much so. Because like, I don't know if I've mentioned this, but when it comes to my channel, I've had me good days, and I've had me bad days. Well, it's like you spend hours looking for material, spend hours trying to make it as intriguing and as interesting, and you know as well as I do, you have to sort your titles and everything, your thumbnails.
Oh yeah.
And then and you work incredibly hard on it, and then it just bombs. it just dies on its ass, doesn't it? You just
when my videos get less than 10 views, that is ultimate humiliation for me.
Yeah. It's not the worst than getting 5 views and 4 of them are yours. I've been there, so I know
switch channel and play the video again to make up for the viewing numbers.
Yeah. But anyway, there are days where little things make up for it. Because like, I'm not sure if I mentioned this. I might have mentioned it somewhere, but I'm not always on Twitter. I'll just pop on now and again. See which half-wit's making a tit of himself or themselves or whoever, and and have a good laugh.
I just see your tweet and it's like, oh, what's he reacting to now?
Yeah. Because like me, I've always thought, you know, in these dark times, if you don't laugh, you'll just cry. But but it's like sometimes you'll get where it's saying some people have had a look at you tweeting this and that, so you pop on it, and I got a follow from a guy. Now I know there'll be a few people in the chat from Scotland, and I got a follow by a guy called Chris Stevens, and you know yourself when you say to yourself, that name sounds familiar. When have I heard that name before? And I sort of just plopped onto his photo. I thought, oh, it's the SNP MP, Chris Stevens, from SNP. He's followed me, and I thought, oh wow, that's made my day. That's made my day. So I just followed him back and thought no more about it. Well, he sent me a private message. Hi, saying I want to thank you for highlighting some of my work that I did in the Work and Pension Select Committee meetings, and I was just stunned. I was like, you know, your jaw dropped, and my jaw just dropped, and it was an old one where he was absolutely tearing into. I think her name's Holly Smith. At the time, I think she was Work and Pensions Minister. She was as much use as a finer lift, and I was just jaw dropped. And when you see stuff like that, you think, and it just makes and you know, like you're all fingers and thumbs, and you just don't know what to say. Oh, thank you. Practically nearly.
You get a bit like stardust in your eyes, as it's just like like somebody important or famous or whatever has responded to you. It's like me. I don't know how often you see my tweets regarding wrestling, but when a wrestler or something related to things like I never get anything from politicians, but whenever I get a retweet or a like or something from a wrestler, so it's like I got to put that on this. I got to put that on my wrestling community. It's like he liked my tweet.
But I thought, what do I say? I just practically fell just a little bit short of saying I love you and can I have your babies.
Just don't get weird. Just don't get weird. That's the thing. That's what you got to do. Because people sometimes jump into that trap of getting a bit weird when they think, oh, they like me or something. It's like, no, they just appreciate what you're saying or related to you. Like, don't ruin it.
Yeah, it was like, you know, you could tell he was one of those. Like I said, I'll be keeping my eye on your future work, comrade. And I thought,
comrade, comrade, I like that.
and absolutely brilliant. And like he said, keep in touch. And I thought, how cracking. I think, well, maybe not. It's not exactly. You can easily go on Twitter. Hi mate, how you doing? You know, hello. But early today sent me a message where he showed me a video of him in 2022 where he's absolutely giving Therese Coffey an absolute going over.
Oh,
and I thought that's my next video.
Is that what you said to him? Did you say that to him? Oh, cheers for that. I'm gonna make a video out of that.
yeah. I see that. I can click that out because clearly it was absolutely giving her full pelters and Therese Coffey in a usually roundabout way of uncaring and unemotional answers, as if I don't care. These are just the great unwashed poor. You know, I'm having the time of my life practically. And like you did say that after that, I felt embarrassed and felt frustrated because of a lack of answers. You know, people.
Yeah.
This around the time of just, you know, when after Partygate and all that, and and people were really struggling, and and she was just very, as if to say, meh.
Yeah, a lot of them were like that, to be fair. Just got 2 super chats. I just wanted to highlight, guys. You didn't think I didn't forget about your super chats, did I? Jordy K says, I don't have to care about politics. I'm a Finn. No, you don't have to care about politics, but you can always have an eye and ear and hear what's going on or see what's going on. You don't have to care about it, but you could find it. Yeah, that's definitely. You don't have to have a care for it at all. No, absolutely. But thank you for the £2, £2, not £2, €2. Sorry, €2. I've got to get my currency right. Alistair Keir, thank you for the £5 super chat. Politics when I was a school age, I knew more about history. That's the problem. No teaching in school at all. They don't at all. They don't think it's taught at all. Yeah, 100% agree. Thank you for the £5 super chat. Yeah, it's really important. Yeah, I think.
You just get the feeling they just want to teach you enough, just to press that button and just to move this and just so you can get your little bit of scraps of minimum wage and just survive, you know. Don't we?
Absolutely. Steve just wanted to say thanks for your work, Daily Blasé. Yeah, and I agree. The covering select committees is really important. And you do a great job of highlighting that. Yeah. So
cheers. Thank you.
Good friend Steve, all the way over in New Zealand. So it's morning time for him.
Oh, fantastic! I've got a relation who lives in New Zealand. I've forgotten whereabouts now he lives. But yeah, he moved over there. He came over about 2 years ago, and it's quite unusual. He came to our house and we had a chat, and you know, it's quite interesting with his New Zealand twang with that, while he's still talking with a bit of a broad Yorkshire. He bag on you. Mixed in as well.
It's awesome when you. It's awesome to meet people with different. Like I think when I talked about this, I think it was yesterday or the day before one of my live streams, and talking about, you know, meeting people with different backgrounds, different accents and nationalities and whatnot. And it's so fascinating to meet them in real life and to have conversations with them, because you learn so much. There's only ever one person actually that I've met from my channel in real life. And she actually comes over, visits from France every now and then. She'll come into London. She'll let me know. She's like, "Oh, I'm in London. Do you want to meet up?" I think I've met about 2 or 3 times now. But she's an absolute lovely person. She joins us sometimes on games nights on the Discord community. She's an absolutely lovely person. And sometimes we don't even talk about politics. Just talk about anything else, you know. And she's even met my partner as well. So, you know, and yeah, it's really nice because it can, you know, and it's also the social thing as well. There's a social thing as well.
Absolutely.
Yeah. You're still trying to come out of the dark.
Yeah, I think it's a lost cause, unfortunately. I think it's just a lost cause up here. I think we need to change the light bulb. It's about as much use.
Need to change the light bulb. Come out of the dark there. My life says, I do love your videos, Daily Blase. Yeah, they are very good videos. Yeah, indeed.
Thank you. It's like I sort of like come out with a little bit of ideas in my head, because like while Parliament's in recess, I've sort of like been still looking at one, and I'm thinking, why don't I do 1 or 2, you know, these little odd select committees as a bit of a live stream, you know, for an hour live stream. It's like I've got 1 or 2 ideas in my head, and because like while they're in recess, I'm always struggling for material. It's not easy. So what I decided to do was, you know, like, to be honest, I thought this week, I'm thinking, I think my channel's dying a slow death, because I got to about 240 something. Then all of a sudden the subs just started going down. I'm thinking, what the hell's happening here? What's
You're
happening here?
30,200 subscribers you're on. Yeah.
Yeah,
To be precise, but yeah.
yeah, because like they just kept going down and down and down. I was sort of thinking, what's going on here? And to be honest, it's probably more my fault than anything else. You know, never one of these. You know, where there's a, why are you not watching my stuff? I slave my right. That's it. Taking my ball and I'm leaving. You know,
It's
because
just like, okay.
it's usually my fault. I've made an absolute horrendous ricket somewhere. But like, but today's video that I did, and it's usually a lot of the times, it's when I see a video, I just see my thumbnail first. I just see it and I thought, oh, that could be a banger. You know, because more often than not, I will just boom, there's my thumbnail. And like the one I did today, I did my thumbnail first.
Yeah.
And I made a few and I just, as soon as I heard the call that the video were about, I thought,
Yeah.
oh, I can make something out of this. I can make something out of this, because I just found the call incredibly fascinating and interesting. What the guy had to say, and you was thinking, the guy's talking a lot of sense. And I, to be honest, it's, judging by from what I was saying, it seems to be done quite well. Because like I was about 30,190 something, and I just had a little look, and it's just shot to 30,270 odd subs. I think, oh wow.
Well, it was a good video, because obviously I'm sure most people know of Max, obviously, and his channel, and he took the one from Sheila Fogey, that she had, that great caller that she had. I don't know if you
Darren,
yeah, the Darren one. So and so when I saw your one, I was just like, are you covering Darren again? I don't mind listening to Darren again, but no, it was a different call. So that was like what came into my mind, maybe, because obviously that one, obviously some people obviously play it a bit later on, but no, you had a completely different call. It was one from James O'Brien, but even his one was really fascinating. I loved how he kind of broke down this, and it actually is kind of makes sense, actually, because we are going to be talking about the riots anyway.
Yeah.
But there's so many intertwining things when it comes to the riots that have happened in the UK. What what was obviously I'm pretty sure you haven't really explicitly covered it, have you yourself? Have you, or did you cover it on? No. What was your like? So obviously, I'm sure we obviously what happened in Southport was absolutely horrible. But what did you honestly think that after what happened? Did you honestly think that this was gonna kick off like it did?
Well, I can't remember where I was when I first heard about it, but I did watch the urgent question, and I don't know if many people's watched it. I was thinking of covering it, but you know that little thing in the back of your head, and thinking, is that in a bit of poor taste? So I just left it. But
was there nothing there? Because I never watched any of it. Was there not really anything to add to it, really, the urgent questions?
Well, people asked questions, and it was all, if I'm honest, the way Parliament should be. And if you watch Yvette Cooper's speech, well, it's not speech, statement, where she went through what they said about what the parents had said about that, you could tell she was struggling. She was struggling to hold her voice. She was clearly upset by what she'd been reading, and both her and James Cleverly, they both, and also everybody else in there, all said that we should be careful not to spread misinformation and make this worse than what it actually is. And then Nigel Farage came out with a banger of a, no, he wasn't there, of course. What am I talking about? No, because let's be honest, why would he want to be there to when nobody's going to be interested in listening to what he's got to say, because he's a boring old fart anyway. if I'm honest, there were everybody there who had their own little thing what they wanted to say, and they all highlighted that people should make sure that they don't spread misinformation, and let the police do what they needed to do. And to be fair to Lee Anderson, but he sounded quite human, and because like he asked a question, he said, "What can we do to help the police?" And help.
Is this the same Lee Anderson? Is this
yes,
the same Lee Anderson?
Yes, everybody was very, very respectful, and it's the way it should be, isn't it? Really.
Yeah.
But I could. But when Yvette Cooper was giving out the statement, she was. I think one of them said that I can't remember which one of the little girls had loved to dance, and she just finished off with, "Keep dancing, my little princess." And you could tell her voice was cracking. She was struggling. And I thought to myself, I was in two minds. I think this is the way Parliament should be, and that's where Nigel Farage should have been. If he had questions, that's where he should have asked them. But we all know it was just fake outrage, because it was, and it's been the same with Tommy 10 Names after, because we all know what's happened after, and when I've seen what's happened over here and there, we got all laugh at the one nearly getting his head knocked off with a brick and whatever. But what annoys me more than anything, them three little girls have been forgotten about. They have been disappeared into the ether because of grubby little opportunists who've just jumped on this for their own personal gain. They don't really care about what's happened to these three little... And they proved it when that young 14-year-old boy who was stabbed on his way to school, where was the fake outrage then? Not interested.
Yeah, was that the one I covered yesterday, the one about the black boy?
Daniel... was it Daniel...
I can't remember the victims. I can't remember the names, but
Daniel, and you're in something. It's a
but because he was a black boy and it was a white murderer, everyone just kind of didn't talk about it because apparently it's got nothing to do with the color of their skin. Apparently, I mean, it was just, as James O'Brien rightly put it, I thought that clip really, really spoke a lot of volumes to. I don't know if you watched the live stream yesterday, but I thought that clip that I found really highlighted the narratives that the media play in this as well. I think one of the most, I was very like, I'm kind of in two minds because obviously what happened is, obviously, I don't know if you saw the Daily Mail's headline this morning. Which
I have seen it. Very, very interesting out there. Very, very interesting.
No, they've actually decided to be similar to the Daily Mirror, and actually, which is very weird. So they've just gone with they've gone with the right narrative for now, but obviously it doesn't mean that they'll change their tune later on down the road. But they know they're being highlighted all the time. Their misdemeanor and their part in riling all this up. But
I'll tell you what I will find interesting, because it's like, for me, come this week and end of this football season starts, and my team playing away. So, but the next week home match. So I have a few friends who are proper down the rabbit hole, and they still think that there's a big badass man running around boxing rings in Paris, beating up women. They're absolutely proper down the rabbit hole. And I've got one mate who's there, who thinks that Elon Musk is right, and you just think, and I just replied, "What's the ketamine kid been saying now then?" and I'm like, he's declared war on the working class, and I just couldn't help myself. I just entertain him for a little bit. I says, I've just looked out the window. I can't see any of the army and jackboots, ready to drag me out of my house at this very moment.
No.
I just think, get over yourself, mate.
Yeah. Max did a video on that, David, about the gentleman who he worked for 12 hours taking care of old people, and then he came out and his car was basically burnt to a crisp. It's just such demoralizing, but really highlights just I'll go on. What are you gonna say?
I heard there's a bit of good news there that there's been a bit of a sort of like a charity thing for.
Someone done like a fundraiser for him.
They've raised £37,000 for him already.
Oh, that's awesome! I need to find that. I need to find that
because I went on Twitter. I noticed that Super Tansky had highlighted it.
Good.
She was going to do the same, but then it's highlighted that they're going to. I didn't quite read the article, but they were going to do that, see if they can raise a small amount, and within a short while they'd raised £37,000 for him. So hopefully that's for a new car and a bit of an holiday for him and his family, because I think he deserves it.
Yeah, well, and there's a lot of people, obviously, as you know, and I'm sure everyone in the chat knows that a lot of people are struggling. Or the word I like to use is surviving, because for me it's more about, rather than just them living, it's surviving, just trying to get to the next day. Yes, there are people that listen to Elon Musk, Steve, unfortunately. There is, unfortunately. I spend more time on Twitter and X than most people. I just interesting, like I would love Jane for Leviston 2 to be brought up, but unfortunately, there's no sign that the Leviston 2 is going to be coming anytime soon. Labour have kind of like stepped back from that. The rumor and innuendo, and I'm going to say it's a rumor, that that the Murdoch and Labour kind of made a deal of some sorts, and that's why I got the backing of the Sun to not press with Leviston 2. But Phil Morehouse has said that they were going to do some kinds of press reform because they didn't get an endorsement from the Times. Now, I don't know. So they may do some changes to them, some media reform, but maybe nothing on the level of Leviston, which is what we need. So it may just be minor changes. So
it certainly does need reform, doesn't it?
It does need reform. That is a major issue. Are you surprised by how these days people fall into the trap of misinformation, or do you think it's just a combination of things rather than just one particular thing? Because obviously when you hear it, because obviously we've had for a long time, we've had conservatives spewing out lots of misinformation and misdemeanor. And now that we have a prime minister that's a bit level-headed, I know people have criticisms of him and his government, and rightfully so. But I do feel like, we do have a bit of a level-headed government at the moment. But people are still feeling that they can't trust anyone or anything that they hear and read and say, and they just go by what the majority around their group, shall we say, are listening to. What's your feeling on them?
Well, if I'm honest, as somebody who's been watching the stuff in Parliament, you do get the sense that adults are in the room than what we've had over the last few years. It's not exactly ideal. As somebody who's a bit of a ragged trouser philanthropist type socialist, I know I'm not going to get everything I want from this government. But we've seen over the last few years where you just watched a government and it's just been painful watching them. You just think, what are you talking about? And like, you get the feeling they're trying to make the right noises, but you do get the sense feeling something's not quite right, don't you? It's like, well, you do hear people who say, "Oh, well, there's not much difference between the two," and sometimes you think you can you can understand to a certain degree, can't you? Even though let's be honest, if you've seen the high headlines in all the Tory, there is no way that that Labour will get away with anywhere close to what Conservatives got away with, will they? So
No, I don't accept it. Like I just like I know like the thing is that no one's gonna like it's like in America, you know, in a bit of a way as well, because like yeah, whatever side you pick, you're not going to get what you want, and it's the same here. Like we know Labour aren't going to give us everything we want, but we would like we like a start, like something, you know, and at least
yeah,
like I do feel that Labour are going to give something, and I always say I've been telling people like let's see how they do in the first 100 days, and people are already calling for Keir Starmer. I've seen the people already calling for Keir Starmer's head, and it's just like the guy's only been prime minister for like just over a month or so, and already you're calling for just under a month roughly, and you're already calling for his head, and it's just like, can you guys just wait? Like it's literally been just a month and a day since he became prime minister, and it's you know.
I've seen all that stuff. But mind you, a lot of these people are Tommy 10 name supporters and Nigel Farage, so I don't really take much interest.
No. Thank you so much for the €5, Geordie. Really appreciate it. Brits don't really do demonstrations, but those anti-hate gatherings sure do provide a decent approximation of the real thing. Much needed, well, friend. Yeah, well, very well said. Very well said. Thank you so much for the super chat. Really appreciate the
my
support.
faith in humanity.
Yeah. Well, I think I did show obviously some of the wrong one. I thought I did show some of the kindness that that British and English in particular people have, because we need to say that because all we see is negativity on the time all the time. Like seeing covering that on Wednesday night. And I don't know, like there was also there was a couple of good things as well, where we saw in Birmingham lots of Muslims taking to the street in large gatherings, but you could see like just ordinary, just white people, just didn't matter that they were white, but I'm just going to highlight that they were white people, like shaking hands, hugging, and all that kind of stuff. Like, be careful, take care of yourself, sort of thing. There was a picture of a man from one of the mosques, I believe, and he was handing out food to the police officers, which I thought was absolutely lovely. There was one other place, I don't know where it was, where a young Muslim was causing trouble at a place, and the parents the next day came back with him, and there was like and he all came together with the owner, who was a white man in a wheelchair, and and then they did this bit at the end where they all hugged each other, saying we are one, all humans, and all that kind of stuff. And it was so heartwarming, and just to remind people, and I think last night was also a very big message as well. I'll come to your super chat in a moment, Alistair. Was a very big message as well of saying that they are a minority. They are a minority. But when you hear but their voices are more amplified than people with common sense on the social medias, because if you listen to them, because they get amplified so much more, so there's a perception that is created that the UK is going under civil war and whatnot, when you hear it from the likes of Elon Musk. And you only need to hear a few comments here and there, and people outside the UK can jump into this bandwagon saying it's all going to kick off in England. And then I know it's taken a while for the police to kind of get to grips with things, but they did get to grip with things. And as far as I've just been keeping an eye out, I haven't heard anything on heard anything tonight. I don't think there's going to be anything tonight, as far as I'm aware. But
I don't know, but I'm just wondering. I think the reason why they're more amplified is because there's more social media now, and only a lunatic would be shouting into the ether on social media about it's turning to the dogs and all, going mad and all that nonsense, where other people are just getting on with their lives, aren't they, really?
Mm-hmm. Thank you, Alistair Kidd, for the £2 super chat. He says, chat is saying UK has got travel warnings, guys. Is that because of weather, or is that just because of don't travel to certain places because of potential
I have heard
gatherings?
a few. I have heard a few countries say out they would they wouldn't they would say it's not wise to go to England at the moment.
Yeah, England. You can still go to Scotland. You could still go to Wales. You could certain parts of Northern Ireland, but they would not recommend England right now. Which is, at the end of the day, it's totally understandable for people to feel that way with them. I think there was. I think what was one of them. There were really a lot of tragic clips that I saw as well, and I think this was really disheartening. It wasn't just the violence, I think, that we had as well, but I think one of the really sad things was, and I didn't share them. I didn't want to share. I didn't share them on the channel, but there were clips of mothers with their prams taking their kids to some of these riots, which just blew my mind. And then you've seen some clips where there's really young kids, we see the young kids, but then there was like some even younger, and you're thinking to yourself, like, what's wrong with you? Like, what?
It's a picture of a bloke with his lad or lass on his shoulder, and she's there flipping bird, and he's got this ever loving smile and say, "That's my girl." You think it's not to be proud of, really.
No, and it's really disheartening, because it's like, did I miss your super chat? Oh, I did miss your super chat. I'm so sorry, number 3. Oh, how did I miss it? Did it not turn? It didn't show up on here. Oh, there we go. Oh, sorry about that, number 3. We need to note that many people who have concerns, whether they are well-founded or not, is another matter, but they need to be addressed. Thank you so much, number 3, for the £5 super chat. Yeah, absolutely. They're absolutely that people's addresses and concerns need to be adhered to. That I absolutely 100% agree that people's issues and concerns definitely need to be addressed. But when politicians or people try to justify the actions of these people, literally just smashing cars, smashing windows, setting things on fire, setting hotels on fire, there's no
legitimate concerns,
as they say, and I've said
terrorists,
and you're trying to justify, how is robbing a Greg store stopping the boats exactly? How is burning down the Citizens Advice Bureau going to make asylum seekers go away? How is robbing a shoe zone, what's that going to do? Oh, it means that the asylum seekers aren't going to have shoes to run on or something.
That'll teach them. There's no crocs for them. No crocs for them asylum seekers. That'll teach them.
Oh, I hope those women get caught. I really hope those women get caught with those Croc shoes I saw. It's just like, they're just like absolutely calm about it. It's just like, you got to pay for it. You can't just take them. Oh, God.
Yeah.
Just don't understand it.
Mental.
It is absolutely mental.
And like now, it's been interesting to see the behaviour of people like Nigel Farage now and Tommy 10 Names, in his 5-star hotel, fit to burst. Clearly he's panicking. He's clearly bitten off more than he can chew, and he can see what's down the tram lines. He will not be a free man if he comes back to England.
It's quite interesting, wasn't there? He had to reveal his finances now that he's an MP, Nigel Farage, I believe. Phil Morehouse has covered it a few times. I don't know if there's I don't know if there's any he's the only one that he's the only person that I know has been keeping track of this story, and I've not seen it anywhere else, so I don't know if there's I don't know if there was a deadline or something he had to give.
I can't quite remember when the deadline is, but as far as I know, I do know that he has to reveal his finances a good year before he became an MP. So that'll be
Yeah,
interesting, won't it?
that will be interesting. But I do think that while it's not been revealed, I'm sure he's making necessary changes as we speak. Jordy, thank you again so much for the €5 euros. I really appreciate it. You guys have been really kind today. We really appreciate your support. Obviously, guys, just a reminder, if you haven't already, hit the like button, share across social media, subscribe if you haven't subscribed. And if you're not subscribed to Daily Blasé's channel, what are you doing, guys? Go and subscribe. Go and watch his videos. It's absolutely great stuff. You should be anyway. If there's anyone here who is not a subscriber of Daily Blase, why aren't you a subscriber? You should be. So just put that out there. Links for his channel is in the description as well, guys. And also, he has his own Patreon, guys. So if you want to financially support him as well, then you can also do that by joining his Patreon. He has one there as well on his channel. You can click the link in the description there if you want to financially support him as well, guys. Fake news has already made sure that anything branding and fake news will be branded fake news. Giving lies a pass comes with cost in the cleanup. Yeah, fake news on top of fake news on top of fake news. That's a very well put there. Thank you again for it. For the super chat. Yeah, it is very, when they are allowed to consistently say the same things over and over again, it's very problematic, and that is why we need some kind of media reform, and that brought back obviously to Leviston. Do you think that obviously still sticking with a bit more of the riots, but do you think how can I put this? So obviously we do want media reforms, but do you think they will give Ofcom more powers, perhaps, to do more against the likes of GB News and any broadcasters that may be crossing the line? Do you think that they might do?
Well, I hope so, and it's got to go to the top, hasn't it? Because it has to, because there is. And because for simple reason, it'll never stop, because they're the main instinct. So I watched a video. It's an old one where you remember when Akala was scolding on me 10 names on that TV show 11, and he said something he said racism didn't come from working class backgrounds. It came from rich elites with pseudo science and all that sort, and he's bang right. And I remember the first book that changed my political outlook on life. I'll be happy with me. I was probably a sun reader. My brain was turned to mush by all this nonsense, and then I got a book called The Ragged Trouser Philanthropist, and it just explained to me all these papers, and they used to call them the obscura and the chloroform in the book, to let you know what type of rubbish there were. And it just made me realise that even them days, these tabloid outlets and all, they were having influence and same influence on these people who were practically, living hand to mouth and struggling to get through the week, because they were just living in perpetual poverty. It was a case of they were, when they weren't working, they're getting the stuff on tick, and then once they're working, they're basically trying to pay off the debt and have enough money to put food on the table at the same time. And then once they're out of work again, the whole cycle repeats itself, and you got these horrible newspapers saying the reason why your life is absolutely down in the dumps and absolute rubbish is because immigrants. And it's nothing and it's still the same, isn't it? It's still the same. Now you see, and like you said with the Daily Mail and the Express, it was very interesting and very, very interesting, their headlines, because I've been watching a lot of stuff on my Facebook, and it's not political. it's just I just pop on and just have a bit of a. If I do have a giggle, it might be the odd news thump article taking the rise out of Tommy 10 names or Nigel Farage just for a good giggle because I can't resist it. But there are people on there who actually believe that they are in the majority, and I'm sat there thinking, no, you're not really. You're not. And they still believe that the reason why their life hasn't worked out is because too many people coming here on boats. And when I read that book, I just couldn't believe how stupid I was, that I fell for this nonsense. And I still hit, and when I see them still post all this nonsense, I sometimes, that was me, good 10 years ago plus. And once I read that book, my outlook on life, political outlook on life, just switched 180 degrees. And it was just, and it was obviously, it was still the first book that ever made me cry, because it was just an absolute beautifully written book by a guy who worked 60 odd hours as a paint decorator, and he was suffering with tuberculosis. I think it was he was suffering badly with it, and after he finished his whatever how many hours a day he'd worked, 6 days a week, he'd go upstairs to Tyra, and he was going to write as a bit of a some sort of like wasn't going to really write a story. He was just going to write his experience, and he just in the end up to reform, and it's just fantastic. But as I say, when it comes to these newspapers, when I read that book, I can still see that they just keep, it's rinse repeat, innit? They just keep rinse repeating. This stuff was happening over 100 years ago, and we all remember Ricky Tomlinson. He was the same person who he was somebody who was an absolute rabid, down the rabbit hole, right when you think reason why everything's gone, my life's gone to pot is because, for simple reason, immigrants. And he was I think he was in the National Front or BNP or something or whatever for a time. I could be wrong, but he went to prison for 3 years because I think it was something to do because they were in the union and whatever. I can't quite remember what it were about now, but I remember there's a bit of a 20 minute film called Ragged, and it's produced by, that comedian Johnny Vegas.
Yes, I'm familiar with him. Yeah,
Johnny Vegas is from I think he's from Manchester, and he based how Ricky Tomlin, because he went on hunger strike.
Yeah.
He went on hunger strike because he said, I shouldn't be here. I'm a bit of a political prisoner and all that, and he was in solitary confinement, and the prison warden went up to him and said, got this book for you, Ragged Trouser Philanthropist. And while he was in solitary confinement, he just read it from cover to cover. And he asked him, so why did you give me this book? He says because you're far too intelligent to be in this place, and I just think you needed, and it's one of them books that's very life changing, and it just changed my life. Is that how close I could have fallen down the rabbit hole? I could have easily been one of these people, just thinking my life is absolute rubbish due to these small boats and whatnot. And so I can relate to why people fall down that rabbit hole. But I'm always somebody that tries to. I've got to work with a lot of my friends, but when I see them post their stuff on the internet and on the social media, I just think to myself, that's the reason why they're real. Like you said, they're in the minority, aren't they? But they're very loud now because they've got so much social media. If it isn't Facebook, it's Twitter, and it's stuff like YouTube and
Yeah.
whatnot.
It's yeah, without a doubt that people need to they need something and an outlet. I feel like immigration is an easy target. It's an easy thing to point the fingers of all your problems when like, and when life is rough and life is problematic. And the thing is that people don't should be pointing the finger at politicians, at political leaders, at people who make the core decisions that goes on in the country or the nation that you're in. They are the ones who make the ultimate calls, the ultimate decisions. And if they're not making the calls and the decisions in your interest, then why are you still voting for them? And then there's also the other caveat of just like, well, if you want to change politics, go into politics as well. But I think that because that's obviously what a lot of people have tried to do, and then they end up getting eaten by the system. I think that's they get eaten up by the system, and and I'm a very, for those who don't know, I'm quite a big advocate of the Green Party. I like their policies. I like what they say. I thought, I like a lot of things what they say. They have their issues just like any other political party. But I can see them getting literally eaten up by the political machine, I can just see that happening, or they will remain a fringe because the media won't give them that attention and notice that they deserve. They didn't get enough of it in the general election as it was, and I feel like that if they don't. Even now, even though there's 5 MPs, you're still hearing more from Richard Tice, from Nigel Farage, from the other Reform MPs. Like, how often have you had? I mean, you've had a couple of Green MPs on a few shows here and there, but not as much as the Reform people. So the media and the other thing, which also plays into this, is that it's clickbait. It's more views, it's more audience, it's more engagement, because every social media platform always wants to drive engagement, and the best engagement is negative engagement. When things are going wrong, when things are going bad, that is where more conversations and more discussions are made in negative engagements than there are in positive engagements. So they're a ratings draw. Nigel Farage is a ratings draw. If he wasn't a ratings draw, if he wasn't someone that attracted an audience, he wouldn't get so much political time, because they pull him on not just they know who he is. They know he's a charlatan. They know he's a liar. They know that he will say things that they don't agree with. But they also know this guy can give us views. He can give us numbers. So why would we not want to put him on as well? And I think that's a massive problem as well, when it comes to the power of misinformation there as well.
Totally agree. But as I say, when you talk about the Green Party, for all the lack of publicity they got during the election, Reform only got one MP more than what they did. And it's just, after all that publicity they got, they only could have muster, and they barely just managed that, didn't they? One more MP than the Green Party, and they barely got an extra one, didn't they? They just got one by a couple of votes or something.
There was a lot of close calls, to be fair, though. For some, it could have been a couple more. To be fair. Well, I still think it was quite frightening that Reform had votes in Scotland and Wales. I thought that was still frightening, even though they weren't much in terms of vote share. That's the fact that people in Scotland and Wales still voted Reform was still, raised a few eyebrows for me when I was looking at the numbers after the general election. That was a little bit concerning, but I mean, they don't have no say in Scotland anyway. But the fact that people still put their votes towards them in those countries, at least, is still frightening, to say the least. But we also have to remember is that even if, yes, they only got 5 MPs, but they still got the third biggest vote share in of the UK, which is
Yeah, true.
extremely frightening.
It's all matter. Just it's seats that matters, isn't it?
Yeah, at the moment, yeah, it's the seats that matter at the moment. Yeah. Do we still want proportional representation, guys? Yeah. Do we really want to give? Do we really want to give? Do we really want to give Reform 100 MPs?
Yeah, but see, the thing is, if they want to get stuff done, they're going to have to compromise, aren't they?
But the thing is, do they want to get things done as well? I think that's another question. Like, because we've seen, like, I don't know how much you like Nigel Farage since he become MP, he hasn't even set up an office in Clacton. I don't know when the last time he was in Clacton. Like, so what are people in Clacton supposed to do when there's not even an office for them to go to? Like, is there an email that they can email him to? Like, when they have issues? Like, I've said to all the Nigel Farage fanatics, I've said to them, yeah, let's see how Clacton looks in a few years' time. Yeah, and then someone would go down to a microphone and say, did you vote for reform? Okay, has Clacton improved since he's come as an MP? What has he done to improve your area?
See, the thing is, need to remember, they could have any minute now. The orange one could pop down to Clacton, see my good buddy Nigel Farage. Because I know my friend Billy Kershaw, my running mate Billy Kershaw, great man. He's going to be my VP for this presidential run. VP. Are you happy now, Billy?
It's a shame that you say that. Yeah, Trump was just so busy he had no time for Nigel Farage. When he was getting assassinated, he was like, "I'm here for my friend Trump. I'm here for Donald. I'm here for Donald." And then I'm just making this bit up, guys. Yeah, I'm making this bit up. So what this bit I'm about to say. So darn it. And then someone comes in and tells the former president, Mr. Trump, Nigel Farage is here to see you, your friend. Who? Nigel Farage. He's come all the way from the UK. Who? Okay. I'm a bit busy right now, so yeah. When can you see him? He's come all the way over to see him. Oh, not right now. I'm very, very busy.
Not right now.
So, some friend. I'm here for Donald. Okay. Donald doesn't want to see you right now.
Yeah. It was hilarious when Emily Maitlis, who called it.
Yes, that brilliant interview with Emily Maitlis was brilliant. She was so good.
Yeah, Channel 4 news reporter called him. Emily Maitlis, she's just brilliant at them because she's just you can tell she just calmly just gets them going, and the more they get angry, she doesn't bite. She just razor focus, just carries on with the question, and you can tell that they're getting it. And when she called Nigel, he said, not seen Donald Trump. He's got that nervous laugh.
I mean, even the did you watch the full interview with Tom Swalsbeck and Nigel Farage on LBC?
I didn't actually.
Did you see? Have you seen some highlights from it at least? Then
I just heard some clips.
Yeah,
it's like, let's be honest. I did watch his maiden speech in House of Commons, just so you guys didn't have to. Jesus Christ, it's about as interesting as root canal work. He is boring.
I was like, you have my deepest sympathies, Daily. You have my deepest sympathies for giving up your time to listen to this man.
Oh, it was boring.
I listened to it, so you don't have to.
Yeah, I've got to say, I watched it and think, what's the fascination? And he kind of reminds me of that Donald when he does his speeches at his rallies. I'm boring. I just see the first thing comes into my head. I'm bored, and I don't like United States. But yeah, I watched one of his rallies. I think it was maybe somewhere in Detroit, and after about 5 minutes, I was absolutely just bored. It was like
No,
he just nothing, just waffled on, and it was same with Nigel in his speech. I can't remember the Labour MP who just took the rise out of him. Said just after 8 attempts to get elected and after 21 years, you've mastered your maiden speech perfectly.
Yeah. I do like that he took the piss out of himself with his first speech with the whole King's speech, where he's just like, I've had so many attempts and I finally got in. It's just like, you finally got in, just guys, if you have any questions for us, drop them in the chat and we'll ask them. Jolly has how much hope did the silent majority uprising give you? It gave me a lot of hope, because it's easy, it's easy for the far right have the media, they have the social media, their negativity gets more amplified than positivity about what happens in England more in particular. So when that's always amplified, the perception of England and the perception of the UK as a whole gets viewed differently. And what you saw last night in particular was people coming out saying, people who are seeing all the anti-fascist protests reports and leaflets and everything, these are people coming out saying, no, I ain't fucking having this. I'm not having my town, my community, my people, my brothers and sisters getting trashed and whatnot. Like if they're going to do it, we're going to stand against them. And of course, fair play to the police. I thought they had I'm a bit hypocritical, because obviously I've been very critical of the police, as you guys know, on my channel for quite a while. But I thought, I kind of like, totally, I think some of the actions that they have done in these riots were justified, especially by some of the way that some of the violence that some of these people have had towards the police, I think has been justified. But I was watching Van Man Talk's video this morning, because I was like, after what happened in Brighton, I was like, Van Man, you better do a video today. You better do a fucking video today, boy, because you are from Brighton. How can you not talk about this? So he did a short video, but I was just like, I was just happy. I was so happy for the people of Brighton, because they had literally like a pride event a few days ago beforehand. I was like, you guys are going to turn up in Brighton? Are you crazy? Like, and they were going to, like, apparently they were going to turn up in Birmingham. Like, are you going to, are you mad? And then and then they were trying to go for Liverpool, and it's just like there are some towns and places you just don't go to. The only success that the fascists had last night was a roundabout in Blackpool. They took back control. They took back control of a roundabout, guys. That was the one thing they took back control of last night. And the police, the police in Brighton, and the police in Brighton. I love the fact that the police had to escort the fascists out of Brighton because obviously it's like the police have got, at the end of the day, they've got to do their job. They got to do their job. So they have, because the fascists there weren't actually causing trouble. So they weren't actually causing riots or anything, because there's only like 4 or 5 of them. Someone said there was many as 7. I'm pretty sure it was 5, but either way. But they still have a job to get them out there for the safety and all that, which I thought very professional for the police. Perfectly well put. A tragic roundabout.
Yeah.
I had to say that.
Have you seen the video of the one in Aldershot?
There were so many. What was the one in Aldershot? So you have to remember, because I covered so many last night.
Well, there was this bald guy with a microphone screaming, and and I don't know how old the kids were around him, but they didn't look incredibly old. But he's there screaming down his microphone, communists off our street, and across the road there's a load of protesters,
Do you want to know who that is?
No.
Do you want to know who that is?
Who is that?
So he's apparently the leader of UKIP, the current leader of UKIP.
All right.
I can't remember his name, but apparently he's the leader of UKIP. And I was like, Yeah, so I looked it up after someone tweeted that he was the leader of UKIP. I was like, what? I had to tweet it up, look it up, and I was like, yeah, I can't remember the guy's name, but I was like, and I looked at that group, yeah, because I remember the clip, yeah, because you told me that, because that was the only clip I remember. Someone shouting communist, and I was looking at that, and I was thinking,
off our street.
I was like, what are you talking about? Are you in the same country, bruv?
Yeah. Absolutely bonkers.
Oh, I know. I still can't believe they exist. When the police do their job instead of acting like a best funded gang, yeah, they deserve credit. Yeah, absolutely, they do deserve credit. You know, I've highlighted it. I highlighted it last night and days in there. Like, the police have been absolutely fantastic in all of this.
Yeah,
and when they do good, they deserve their credit. But when they're bad, obviously it needs to be highlighted as well. But but you know, it's. But they obviously more like I literally said about social media, more negativity is highlighted more than the positive things, and that's the same with the police sadly. So I think that, but absolutely the police deserve their flowers, rightfully so. The UK should reintroduce the wolf to help deal with our deer overpopulation problem and help revive our woodlands and moorlands. We have a biodiversity crisis. Do you agree? Do we have reintroduced wolves? What do you think about this question, Daily Blasé? I'll let you try and tackle this one. I'm just gonna be like, I'm gonna let you deal with this one.
Yeah. Well, all I can say is I'll start to get worried if when I'm making my way back to work from working men's club, staggering home or whatever. It's not really something I thought about, but I did hear a little something about, you know, the introduction of wolves, and because from what I've heard, that they have to when it comes to the deer population, they have to sort of like when they reach a certain age, get the.
So in America, they cull them. When they reach a certain amount of deer population, they cull them. So obviously going to hunting and whatnot. While I don't advocate any at all, you know, the hunting of animals, when there is an overpopulation, there is a bit of I don't like to say it, but I do feel there is a bit of justifiability. If there is an overpopulation, then you need to cull it. It's believe it or not, guys, we actually is it Richmond's Park in London that has deer in the park, and every winter they have to cull it, because if they don't, there'll be too many deers in that park, so they have to cull the numbers. Nobody likes it, but it's got to be done with that. I mean, I don't have you want to, like, here's the thing. One of your Peg says, do you want to introduce wolves? I don't know if that's something that people would want. I think that's a question that people should be taught. I think that people should want or not. If there is a deer overpopulation problem, then there needs to be ways to tackle it. If we have to introduce culling in the UK to deal with the deer population, then that's what we should consider. Although I would not agree with that method, but we have to do something if we do have an overpopulation issue. But I don't think. I mean, I'm only speaking. I don't personally see it or hear enough about it, so you're probably more onto it than both of us, Pagan, if I'm honest. But if there is an overpopulation, then there needs to be a solution to that. My only concern is with reintroducing wolves is that the possibility of wolves attacking people. That's my only concern. That's my only concern if you introduce wolves back to the island. Yeah. But that's my only concern with that. There. Zhao asks us, my question would be, if everyone listened to Farage and the others, heard him call for violence, how come no judicial authorities in the UK have taken measures to properly investigate him? I think there's two answers. One, that he's a politician, and two, that he's an MP. I think if he was just someone screaming and shouting at this on like a YouTuber like us, or tweeting about this, he would have already been hooked. He would have been hooked for certain. Definitely. But because of who he is and the influence he has and the followers he has, The government and the police are being very, very careful. They are fully aware of what he is doing. They are fully aware that he's complicit in this, but they're also aware of the backlash that could happen if they were to investigate him, if they were to, let's say, arrest him or whatnot, because then Nigel Farage can cry innocent, cry wolf, and it can technically
anyway, don't they?
yeah, but the fear is obviously you don't want to play into his hands as well at the same time. So it's a two, like, I totally understand that the point, Joe, and I absolutely he deserves to. It's the same thing with Boris Johnson, with all the Tory Conservative MPs and ministers who've damaged our country, and they deserve to have the book thrown at them. But the problem is our system is flawed. It's the system that's broken. It's not. It's the system is broken as well. But I don't know what more you can kind of add to that, really.
It's like, let's be honest, he makes me laugh when he's trying to play himself as the anti-establishment. Let's be honest. I don't know how many here, but I don't remember. After 25 years working for the Bradford Council, I don't remember throwing a party at the Ritz. After his 25 years in politics establishment, my arse.
Yes.
And I think that's the reason why it is, because I would go as far as say it's just as bad as Boris Johnson.
Yeah, I would agree.
Remember that note? Yeah, remember when his headmaster at Eton wrote that note saying he seems to think that rules and all that bind us are not for the likes of him, and I think that's the same with Nigel Farage. He seems to the rules are not for him. He can do and say whatever he likes, and he seems to think to hell with, because I'll get away with it. And one of the things that always makes me laugh about people who say that Tommy Ten Names, the golden boy of the right. No, he isn't. He's just he's not even close, because he's just, let's be honest, he's the water carrier and he's expendable. Once they've no need for him, they'll just throw him like what they've done now. You could tell, just like with Nigel Farage, he's throwing him under the bus, aren't they? He's just
that tweet from Tommy Robinson, I was like, oh dear.
Eyes bulging out of his head, clearly being on the gear, aren't they?
Oh dear. Nigel, I thought we were buddies.
Yeah. It's like he just whines and whines and whines, and not really interesting to say. And then what I find interesting, what I do enjoy doing, and I'll still do it now, is I see his eyes bulging. What I do is I will put the video on, but turn the volume off, and then I just sort of like play a little game with myself. Right, I'll just say right, and so seconds, his eyes are going to start bulging out of his head, and then his face will get incredibly redder and redder. Start screaming down his phone even louder, and when you can't hear a word he says, he looks incredibly funny. I do that all the time. I just wet myself laughing. I've no idea what he says, but he just looked funny. Whatever he's saying, eyes bulging out of his head. You can practically see the white stuff coming out of his nose, can't you?
Yeah. I love this comment from Sandy Bill. I just have to mention it. Sad thing about a roundabout is it's giving away to the right. I just like Sandy. You just brilliant comment. It's just absolute brilliant. I just had to highlight that one. Yes, apparently UKIP still exists. Yeah, they had they had actually a few. They did go for 1 or 2 seats at the general election, believe it or not. They didn't get many votes, but yeah, some people still vote for them, believe it or not. Yeah. So I don't know why they did, but and number 3 says some people are utterly insane at all levels of society. It's scary. It is scary, But sometimes you just gotta brush it off with a bit of laughter and whatnot, and just try not to let it get to you there. Just scroll down. If you guys got any more questions, feel free to throw them in the chat, guys.
Because like come next week, next home game, after the game, I'll bump in a few of my mates, and I'll really upset the span. I'll just say, I think Nigel Farage should get 20 years for stochastic terrorism, and then just wait for them to all explode.
Yeah. Giles says MPs are investigated here. That's Portugal. The only difference is that the head of parliament has to authorize the MPs to be interrogated. Yeah, you have a very different political system in Portugal to us. Yeah. And if anyone wants to know any information or anything about badgers, go. One Angry Pagan is your man. He has his own YouTube channel. We did a chat a couple of weeks ago on here, guys. Badger is the largest land carnivore in the UK. Kind of depressing though. I love the indomitable badger. All hail the badger. I'm sorry I don't have a badger here to showcase myself, but thanks for popping in, Stephen Banker. Appreciate it. Farage is a brand spokesperson for adult nappies. No, I thought Trump is more for that actually. There was actually I kid you not, Trump supporters pretending to wear adult diapers to support Trump. Like that's how crazy people.
Because like I have to say I was out, and I may still do it because I was doing a bit of research because I just find these people fascinating, and I'm thinking, what's the fascination? Why are these people following this guy to the end of the earth? And I was looking at articles, and you get people who are super rich, and if he's offering tax cuts, they're going to vote for him, aren't they? Vote for his selfish needs. And there are people out there who just want to see the world burn. They want to smash it all, everything up, and that's what it. And there are a lot of people up in America who do seem to fall into cults, and it does seem to be a country that does. And I just found that, and it kind of, while reading it, did kind of make sense to what I see. And there are people out there who still think that abortion, that people are killing their child a couple of weeks after the child have been born.
It's like, yeah, and it's just like, let people like let their body, their choice. Like, how hard is this to understand? It's really hard to understand.
Some of them think that.
Do you know the answer to this question? Why is everyone calling Stephen 10 names? I mean, I just call him, what's his name? Stephen Yackley. I don't mispronounce. I keep mispronouncing his middle name. Apparently, chat keeps telling me. Chat finds it funny when I call him Stephen Yackley because I can't pronounce his middle name properly. Apparently, but they find it funny for some reason. But what's the 10 name? What's the reason behind that? The 10 name thing. Sorry.
I'm sure I've heard that he's got even more names than Grant Shapps.
Okay. Well, he's not. Yeah, but Sharps is not the sharpest tool in the box, as we all know. He needs to update that name.
No longer an MP either.
No, it wasn't so. It wasn't sharp. It just broke. The tools just broke for him, unfortunately. Just seeing any more. Are there no laws against an MP lying to foment unrest? If you lie in the House of Commons, you get a telling off, and you're ordered to correct the record. But they have. But the problem is, like I said earlier, the problem is because he's an MP, because he's a politician, because he has influence, because he has followers. This is the same. You can categorize this the same thing with Trump, because, and I know it's a different country, different politics, different system, and whatnot. But let's just say hypothetically they did throw Trump in jail right now with the keys and that. Let's just say they did, right? Yep. People would riot. People would actually turn up and riot in America. There would be chaos and anarchy on the streets because that's how mad people are for Donald Trump. Of course, we all fundamentally disagree with him, but and I'm not saying that's going to happen I'm not saying that's going to happen if we do that with Nigel Farage, but there needs to be enough concrete evidence. Like, it needs to be so blatant that what he's doing is wrong. I mean, we are seeing it, but there's not enough of it to put together to say to the police, right, you have to arrest this man because of A, B, and C. This is where we need people like the Good Law Project to be able to look at this stuff and say, is there enough here for them to say, hey, we're going to put this all together, put this down in front of the police and say, this is what this person's doing. Here's all the evidence. Now go and arrest him. Now, whether the Good Law Project can do something, I can put something together, I don't think there's enough out there. That's the only thing. But there's not really any, like, there's no law putting them in trouble if they lie in the House of Commons. They just get, if they're found to be lying, they're just told they have to correct the record. That's really it there. But,
or even worse, sent to the tea room by Lindsay Hoyle.
The tea room. Or they could be sent to the bar. Like that was, as Carla Denio actually did an interview a while ago, where she's getting her feet, trying to get used to things in Parliament, and she was like, "Why do they need a bar for? Like, what's the point of the bar? Like, cafeteria, I get, but what's the point of the bar?" And I'm like, and she made this point, like, there's nothing wrong with MPs having their drinks and whatnot when they celebrate and all this kind of stuff, but what do they need a bar for? You know, and that's coming out of taxpayers' money. And it's like, like, they don't need a bar. Do they really? Like, they can have like vending machines and drinks and whatever. They can get their own drinks and all that kind of stuff. But why do they need to have a bar in there? I think that's a good point. We just
Billy
get
Kershaw's
this.
Right about Billy Kershaw's right. It's like a telly from my day. Takes a while to warm up, and it flickers, and a few bangs. Oh yeah, I remember them days, Billy.
Oh yeah. I remember the day of banging the TV, and then it'll get going again. Oh, yeah, really did. Yeah. Number 3, thank you so much for the £2 super chat. We need an honesty law and a decent constitution. A constitution is something we definitely need.
Yeah.
Interesting question here. I just want to put this. Sorry, I just want to put this question here. I think it's a very fair question from Doc Davis. Good to see you there. Do you guys ever watch right-wing videos? I think that's a very fair question. I don't watch enough right-wing videos. I think it's the fair answer. I do watch a few, but I don't watch on the level that some other YouTubers would say. I think that's a fair answer to say, because obviously, and I think this is rightfully saying, if you want to try and be as fair and as honest as you can as a YouTuber or political analysis and whatnot, you do need to read and watch to some of the other side of the spectrum. I do sometimes listen to GB News and sometimes listen to clips online, but I don't watch enough of it, I think is my answer to that. Do you watch any? What do you tend to?
I tried watching a bit of a live stream. I think they do on Talk TV, and I just thought they were bonkers. I just thought I can't remember who it was. It was some guy with pushback hair and dark glasses. Not Mike Graham. Oh, can't do a listen to him. He's
not the concrete man.
No, what an idiot. I used to listen to him when he used to do Talk Sport with Mike Graham, and Mike. I've forgotten his second name. He does a couple of shows on.
There's so many out there.
Jeremy Vine's show.
Oh, okay.
Mike something. I've forgotten his name now. They used to do.
Yeah, it's a different guy. Someone in the chat.
Yeah, they used to do the two mics, and they used to do Talk Sport, and to be fair, they were quite funny, especially when they'd have falling outs and they'd have arguments live on air. More often than not, you'd see Mike Graham getting absolutely going mad, getting mad and angry at the other Mike. But then when they went on their separate ways, you could tell they basically just followed the money. They realised that to get anywhere, that you've got to be just insane.
Yeah. Geordie, thank you again for another €5. Really appreciate it. This is not a question. People with high following need to be held to higher standard, not lower, especially if they're elected to an office. Absolutely. 100%. Yeah, if you have a mass following, if people are fully aware of you, you know, and you can apply this to any, not even just to politicians, you can apply this to any kind of fame or some kind of celebrity status that you have. If you have a mass following of YouTuber subscribers or you're popular, you know, that comes with ownership and responsibility, because the way you, not just the way you interact with your with people, but even how you conduct yourself, sometimes even off the camera, like off the camera, because if you act in a way that's if you act a certain way off camera, people could have a different perception of you. So I 100% agree that I wouldn't just apply that to politicians. I would apply that to anyone of a celebrity in status. But yeah, there's a lot of people these days who are very full of themselves, I think is a good word to describe themselves.
And don't listen to stuff that somebody who's in prison for sex trafficking, and don't follow what they say either. So I totally agree. I did watch a couple of clips, and that one where basically, I got the information off Andrew Tate.
It's just like, I think he just threw that comment out there because he didn't have a straight answer with Tom Swalesby. Stephen Moore asked, where are the Tufton Street nutters these days? Where they have always been, in Tufton Street.
Very much so, probably.
They're still there. Don't you worry, Steve. They're not gone anywhere. They're just in the shadows. The difference is that the lettuce has been kicked to the curb. That's the only difference. I just hope the lettuce stays in the curve and never never back in.
I think she's still at that horse race ground with her mouth open.
Still do. Right-wing videos like Question Time. I mean, okay. Question Time is definitely needs the. So I guess if we want to talk about the BBC a little bit, guys, we're going to wrap up in about 10, 15 minutes, just in case. So if you guys want to throw a couple more questions and whatnot, you're welcome to do so. I guess we could talk a little bit about the BBC in Question Time. So I've watched quite a few, even before I found my political views. I used to watch Question Times a lot. I don't watch it as much as I used to. I'll sometimes go and watch a bit of it from Helena. That's No Justice, because she covers it. She covers Question Time there. I do think it's not fair. It's not fair because they don't give, especially for the last 14 years, it's not a fair bout of people. It's always people of a certain political view or a certain angle, like too many on the right. So I guess to answer that question is probably, I think it is true, to be fair, that it is a bit right wing at the moment, but that doesn't mean to say that perhaps if the changes that they make to Ofcom, I really hope they do something about the BBC, that they change things, that they can tweak, that the government
do they still do the Tory plant?
Well, I hope they get rid of the Tory plant, because the BBC needs to. The BBC definitely needs to find its middle ground again, because it definitely lost that for quite a while. I mean, the BBC, despite everything it's gone through, is still popular with the public. People still watch the 6 o'clock news. I know, like, some of us here don't even watch TV at all. Like, I barely watch TV myself, but the BBC is still very popular and still very informative, and people take what they cover very, very seriously. And it does need to be protected. But I'm also in this agreement. I don't know about you. Do you think the BBC should be a subscription service? Because I don't think it's right that people should have to sign up for it if they don't want to watch it, though.
See, I'm always a little torn on this. It's like, I suppose in a way, for what you get, it's a lot less than Sky and cable, isn't it?
That's true. That is true.
Yeah. So and and but the thing is, what annoys me is when what they call Gary Lineker, put his head
Mm,
above the parapet, So this government, with their rhetoric, they do seem to be a bit fashy at the moment, and they absolutely lost their marbles, didn't they? And
mm,
and 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 let's be honest with what's happened in Paris and with that Algerian boxer,
mm,
and you've got Sharon Davis there, tweeting all
mm.
sorts of absolute vile things. Where's the outrage there?
Exactly. Yeah.
Why are they demanding she should be kicked off BBC for a vile rhetoric?
Mm.
It's it's the same thing, isn't it?
Yeah. Exactly. Um, yeah. There definitely needs to be some form of changes. That is for sure. That is for sure, guys.
I wouldn't lose
Um,
too much sleep if Fiona Bruce were kicked off question time either.
no, I definitely want to replace her. Um, and I agree with Helena as well when she keeps saying that Victoria Derbyshire should replace Laura Queensberg. Laura Queensberg is so far, her head is so far up Boris Johnson's backside. It
Oh
is,
yeah, yeah,
guys.
yeah.
It is. She was such a staunch defender of Johnson. It was so blatant,
Oh
and
yeah,
and
yeah,
and and I felt, and you could tell like the how, like, even after the general election when she sat down with Ed Davey, what was it,
yeah,
the sly comment she put to Ed
yeah, yeah,
Davey
yeah.
or so,
Yes,
you know
I suppose congratulations are in order or something. I suppose it's
yeah, and it's just
congratulations, I suppose.
like
Yeah,
congratulations, they won 70, they got 70 MPs, like how dare you, like how
yeah, yeah,
insulting. It's just like
yeah,
like who are you to kind of throw like jabs like that at them? You're not a politician, you're a journalist. You're a broadcaster. Like who are you to make such, slang like that? It's just so rude.
yeah.
It's
As I
like,
say, I don't watch anything she's on anyway
hmm,
because I just don't view her as a serious person. I
no,
just
no, I don't
don't
either.
really.
Number 3 has a question for you. He says, "What's next for Daily Blasé?" Daily Blasé. So what's? I mean, I think you talked a little bit about it earlier, but what's so? Obviously, when Parliament comes back in session, obviously you'll be covering committee hearings and obviously
Um,
committee hearings and what's going on in the Parliament and also in the Lords as well. I suppose as well. I
yeah,
suppose as well.
I
But
suppose. When it comes to recess, I do tend to struggle
mm,
because you can you can you can go to you can go towards I do think about maybe doing a few live streams of committee meetings.
mm,
Because like what I did a couple of days, I thought I have an idea. Why don't I go through start of January this year? Because I know it's till I don't think they come back till about is it 7th or 8th of next month or something, and
yeah,
and I'm thinking, why don't I either go looking through, see if there's anything that's in there, and and see that. And I've seen one or two bits, and I'm thinking, now if I make a small little video out of something which I think is pretty good, I know full well it won't do that well. But I'm thinking if this line of questioning with these witnesses about an hour, I could do a live stream out of that. It's
mm,
like the one I was watching the other day was I think it was in I forgot which select committee it was, but it was talking about the state of the prisons and
yeah.
and it was quite eye opening. And they had these three experts, and I just thought, why don't I do a live stream of that? Because what they had to say was quite eye opening, and they've been in the prisons, because like there's that old saying, isn't there? You know, prisons nowadays are like a holiday camp. Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, how many holiday camps do you know that people commit suicide at 11? Is it 11 people commit suicide every week? Which holiday camps do you go to? You know, and these people who they were talking to, they visited number of prisons, and they're basically saying they're not fit for purpose. They're Victorian, they're old, and they were basically, and then there were another set of witnesses after, and there was a woman on there who she basically focuses on women who have been sent to prison, and they were basically saying that what if I was given the help that I was crying out for, I probably wouldn't have been in prison, and you could tell it's just lack of resources, and you know, it's because we all know which party for the last 14 years has just gutted everything.
Yeah.
And I thought, if I make a short video out of that, how am I gonna make a thumbnail out of it? But if I do it as a bit of a hour-long live stream, so I might do, when it comes to the ones where I know won't do well, I might just make a live stream out of it, you know, and just watch it together. And I think that's probably what I'll do, because I know where my niche in my channel is now, is the select committees.
Yeah.
I'll pop into the House of Commons, and I'll usually spot some, because like me, if I see my thumbnail and I think there's a banger, and when I'm watching something, I'm somebody who, I'll just get that little feeling, that boom, and I think, oh, and more often than not, it usually just become a bit of a banger, you know.
Yeah,
it does really well, and because like I've just seen my thumbnail and I've seen my title there, and I just think, oh, but a lot of the times I'll see a select committee meeting that's really interesting, but I know full well that if I make a video out of this, I may get 1,000, 2,000 if I'm. I think the one that did surprise me when I did that 2-hour video of the Sports Direct select committee meeting with I've forgotten his name now. That was eye-opening. Shocking. When it came to Sports Direct CEO, and because like I know it were a good 2 or 3. I think it was from 2016, and it was very eye-opening. The two guys who were they were union work, and they were going through what's been happening, where a woman gave birth in the toilet because she was so scared of losing a job.
Yeah, I remember. I didn't watch it in full, but I remember that bit highlighting, and obviously I remember reading a few articles in detail about what was happening in the prison system, and it's heartbreaking, because at the same time, like, yes, these are criminals and they need to pay for their crimes, but at the same time, these are still human beings as well. Just want to say, before Alistair Keir disappears there, he had a £5 super chat. Says BBC Scotland is getting its news changed because it has no viewers. Dave McGuinness stated this in this show. I think when I was talking about the BBC, thanks for the £5 super chat. I think I'm just being more specific to England and Wales rather than BBC Scotland. I do need to make that differentiation a bit more, so I do apologise for that, because obviously I can't speak.
I was watching it. I was watching Dave McGuinness, and I was watching, and I found that quite interesting what he had to say, because if I'm honest, I'm still incredibly proud that the amount of subscribers I've got from Scotland, and I was a bit gutted, you know, the number of SNP MPs that didn't come back, because people like Alison Thewlis did well for my channel. Sadly, and
I just wanted to actually ask. Sorry, I just wanted to ask actually before I forget to ask, because obviously we're coming near the end. That is there a certain, are you sticking to a certain time slot when you do your live streams now? Because obviously obviously, if you stick to a certain, are you doing like, do you plan on just doing one on the day of when something really important's come up, or are you thinking of doing like a certain day in a certain time slot?
I might do it if oh, for a time I was doing something a little bit like a Friday frolic, but if I'm honest, it was hurt my channel more because of people who were unsubscribing. So and I just some people are like that, and because when it comes to recess, I'm struggling. It's just an hour live stream would just take the rise out of people who are just unserious people, and we shouldn't be taken seriously. Some people are just, I was losing. I did about 3. I've done about 3 or 4. I only had a couple of 100 views.
Yeah.
But there were people who were just unsubscribing, and so I might tweak that. But if I do, it might be about, because I was doing it on 5/6, because I know you like to do a live stream.
I mean, I was going to say, obviously, if you do like, if you do a live stream once a week or whenever you do it, obviously, if you give me a notice, I'll make sure that I mean, I'm just trying to make sure I don't clash with Max or certain people. Yeah. I mean, realistically, I shouldn't be clashing with Geoscopes on Tuesdays. So I may switch that time slot again, because I'm clashing with Geoscopes. So maybe I might move that live stream back to 6 p.m. because I shouldn't really be clashing with it, to be fair. Because I do have some people who do watch Geoscopes, to be fair. But most of the times on my live streams, I don't feel like I'm clashing with too many people. But obviously, if you do decide to do it, like if you are doing a fixed time or fixed day, it's easier. It's easier. I was just going to say it's easier for your viewers, and especially obviously you'll get a lot more interaction like we have now, and that's the benefit of having a live stream, is because even though you have your knowledge on a certain topic, there'll always be someone in the live streams that might have something, that might know something that you don't know, that just might give you a little bit more than what you know. That's why it's one of the things why I love doing the live streams as well, because obviously these guys are just as much informing me as much as I'm informing them. But yeah, I would say if you are going to continue to do live streams, I would say think about like what time you want to do it and when you want to do it, and where do you think the analysis of where you get the time and the days where you get the most views, obviously that will that can play in the factor on there. I was thinking of
sticking with Friday 5/6, but do something a little bit more different. Because if I'm doing stuff what we're doing and it's hurting my channel, it's counterproductive, because more often than not, the stuff that I put on there, I can't monetize it anyway. It's not really something I would that bother. But if I cannot monetize it and it's hurting my channel, people are subscribing, then it's a bit pointless. But I do think maybe times like something like on Saturdays and Sundays, maybe even Saturday, Sunday afternoons and stuff like that, because I don't see too many people doing a lot during them times.
Neither of us are going to clash with Max's live stream stock, Davis. I can assure you of that. We're not going to do that. I think it's pretty silly to try and do a live stream when he's on, to be fair, because it's very, very good, these live streams. I intentionally make sure that whenever I go live, it's before his live streams, to be fair. And I don't normally cover UK news on the same day as him, because if I do cover UK news on the same day as him, which I have done in the past, it's kind of like regurgitating the same stuff some of you guys have already seen. So it's better that I cover world news on those days, because obviously it's going to be different to what he covers.
It's liable to drag us to guillotine if we did.
I don't know about that. So guys, it's getting pretty late here, and obviously Daily Blasé needs to feed as a vampire, so he needs to collect his daily blood.
Yes.
It's nearly full moon where he is. So,
I am the count.
For those who are wondering, he's just having light. Obviously, doesn't normally the lighting
Yeah,
there, obviously. So he was scrambling to get the lighting on, but he's got something there,
yeah,
so he's not completely.
yeah.
So you can see a bit of. You can see
Yeah,
half of
because
him there.
yeah, yeah. Because like as I said earlier on, I said if I do stuff like this, where I do my videos in my back hall, the internet is not the best, and
Yeah.
it is liable to cough. Whereas up here, it's more reliable, but the light is about as much use as a fart in a lift. It's just absolute. So I brought some luminous lights. Oh, they'll make a difference. Might as well not have bothered.
No, we just talked to an anonymous ex person, like completely in the dark, and you can't see their face.
Yeah,
It's just like
yeah,
this person is talking to you, and people in the chat are like, "Who is this person? It's Daily Blasé,
yeah,
but I can't see him. He's completely face covered.
yeah.
How do we know it's not? How do we know it's not a deep fake of him or something?"
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, dear. So guys, I just want to say first and foremost, Daily Blasé, thank you so much for coming. Thanks for
My
doing this.
pleasure.
It's been
Honor.
really, I've been really informative, really insightful, and obviously maybe we'll do this again in the future, or maybe you and I maybe will join Max and Alex on for a Sunday roast sometime, maybe in the future. Who knows?
Who
Um,
knows?
yeah, but I really enjoyed this. Once again,
Yeah, I've had good fun as well.
yeah, and once again, congratulations, on your channel. Keep, don't, the algorithms always has its ups and downs, so I wouldn't take it. I wouldn't be too worried about it
No.
anyway. Your people are always going to follow you
Yeah,
regardless. So,
yeah, yeah. Yeah.
but guys, if you haven't already subscribed to Daily Blasé's channel, please go and subscribe. I shouldn't need to tell you. You should all be subscribers here on this, from here anyway. But if you haven't, please go over there and subscribe to his channel. And if you guys have come from Daily Blasé over to here, please check out my content as well. I live stream pretty much quite a few days a week. Do check out the schedule on the front page as well if you guys want to do that and check out some of my content as well. And yeah, guys, thank you guys so much for all your questions. Thank you all so much for the super chats. Joel DK, Alistair Keir, and number 3, I think, Alistair Keir. If I've missed anybody else with the super chats, I apologize, but thank you for those who gave super chats. We really appreciate the support, guys, because obviously I don't make a lot of money off I don't monetize my live streams, so any super chats and all that kind of stuff really makes a massive difference. So thank you guys for that. Just a reminder, if you want to also go a step further and financially support Daily Blasé, he does have a Patreon on his front page, so do join his Patreon if you guys want to financially support him in the work that he does, guys.
Yeah, that's something I need to work on my Patreon. I just don't really know what to do with it.
No, but if you guys really want to, if you guys want to put your hand in your pocket and support him, that's one of the best ways to do it, guys, if you can, as well. Just quickly before I head out and do the usual outro stuff, guys, tomorrow, I wasn't going to do a premiere video, but I have done one for you guys tomorrow. If you guys want to check it out, it's going to drop at about 7:30. I recorded it today. It's about AI and AI, basically artificial intelligence, robots and women taking advantage of lonely men, OnlyFans, the rise of this kind of men. Obviously, loneliness is becoming an issue. And unfortunately, they're falling into this trap of being taken advantage of by an artificial intelligence and whatnot. It's pretty scary stuff. But do check out the video if you guys. It's about 40 minutes long. It'll drop tomorrow about 7:30 before Max goes live. So if you guys want to check that out. And on Saturday, 8:00 will be another episode of Regan's News Round, which will premiere. So guys, do come and check that out. And I'll have World's News Round on Sunday, 7 p.m. before All Shorts goes live on Sunday evening as well. And then I will be back on Monday for you guys with another live stream of the Snowflake Viewpoint for you guys here. So thank you guys all once again for your comments. Thank you for the likes. Thank you for the shares. It's all greatly appreciated. Once again, Darren, thank you so much. Do take care of yourself as always. And I'm sure we'll do a talk again. And next Thursday, guys, for those who don't know, Graham Price from Power to the People, me and him will be doing this next Thursday. Very excited. It's going to be first ever live stream as well. So if you haven't checked out his YouTube channel, do check it out. It's very, very good stuff as well. So be sure to check that out as well, guys. So before I hit the end stream button, just got the usual stuff, guys. Ollie would like to say thank you as well. I would turn around, but I'm just like, I'm too close to the keyboard right now, so I'm sorry, guys, if you can't see the game. You'll have to see them another time. So sorry about that, guys. So if you haven't already, please hit the like button. We greatly appreciate. Share it across social media so others are notified of this live stream, and subscribe to both our channels because it really does support us. And if you want to go one step further, financially support me or Daily Blasé in the work that we do, you can join our Patreons with the links in both our channels' descriptions. Be greatly appreciated. So thank you all so much for watching, and we hope to catch you all very, very soon. Bye.
See you later, everyone. Ta-ta, bye.